and hello and welcome each and every one to another Soul Vibes number 31 now. So we've been doing this for quite a while, and thank you each and everyone for joining. And also welcome everyone from wherever you are, from Australia. And my name is Alexis Sersha. And yes, so happy 8th to all of those that are still in that energy of that day, because we all live in different time zones. And so this week I've been kind of reflecting also on how noticing all these different patterns and patterning, and how we work, people that are all over the world. And I'm mainly kind of in here referring to the Western culture in this way because I'm part of it. I understand it, and majority of people that are watching this or perhaps watching this later can resonate with all these different ideas. And so the way I kind of feel this wave of the day happen, and as I said, this week it was especially pertinent. So when I wake up in the morning, I can feel, if you look at the date line, which goes, across the globe, where the date changes from the previous day to the next day, and the energies of the next day, including the numerology and all of what that means, actually influence, sweep through or influence or, bring their energy first, of course, to New Zealand, which has this beautiful pure energy. And it's not just Western world, of course, the indigenous, the Maori, their warrior spirit. So the energies of the day gets first touched by all of those energies of the land, that is surrounded by so much water, so much flow, so much clear crispness. And this then flows, of course, into Australia, the heart, the red heart, the center, and the people that live here from all over the world. And of course, the ancient indigenous people as well. We're kind of the second in this culture that I speak of, that we get touch or touch also the energies of the day. And then, of course, this energy flows through into Europe with with its ancient history, and it gets imbued with that wisdom of the culture of ancientness, of the incredible architecture of beauty, but also, of course, of all of the different happenings and all of the different, things and stages that as a culture we've gone through. The good and the bad and the ugly, the whole lot. And then, of course, the energy continues on cross Atlantic into the new lands of the Americas, the North America, with the innovation, with the newness, and sometimes, of course, some of the craziness as well, and all the things that happen there. And then go into, of course, which we will speak more about, the Silicon Valley in San Francisco, which then kind of creates technology and all of the tools and things to meet the day of, that has been sweeping through these different spaces of the earth. And then on it goes. The day ends up in Hawaii, and again, mixture of different peoples, different cultures, visitors, but also the land of the ancients, and also the land of the new Western people that are there as well. And that kind of seals the day until the day again changes. The changes, the number goes on to the next sweep across the globe. And this is quite important, especially on the days, like the 8th of the 8th, and for people that sort of live in all these different spaces or move across all these different areas, to feel how you feel and perceive, and also how you touch and how you kiss, so to speak, the energies of each day, and especially, the energies of the 8th the eighth portal, which was actually huge, like for me personally. And I know that people that I spoke with, it has been huge. And most of us have been spending a lot of quiet time, a lot of very private time in our own space where we are, integrating and feeling all the stuff that has been going on in the last few months, of course. So much of the old has been releasing. And then in the last couple of weeks, we've been fertile ground to start touching and become aware of these new energies, these new spaces. And for me, be feeling like some of the places, some of these realms, so to speak, that I've been able to enter, they are just unlike anything I've experienced up to now. And I've experienced incredible realms and new worlds just in dancing with my own soul, and how that has expanded me into all of these different parts of myself on the inner world, but also on the outer world as to what, where I can perceive and touch and feel and sense. But yeah, these spaces are completely unlike anything. And then going through it, through the portal, I've realized, wow, I'm at the portal at this gate, 8th of the 8th, the Aquarian gate, because the full moon, of course, it's in Aquarius, just coinciding with this date. And of course, these dates, especially those people who've been in the spiritual movements or circles for a long time, we know that there's always been a hype about these kind of gates and these kind of dates. All of the humanity is gonna ascend, and then another year comes, and all the humanity is gonna ascend. So this has got nothing to do with that. It was very personal. It was not about really ascending humanity or anything like that, because it's about the personal journey, and all of these decisions that we make on the inside are very, very personal, very, very intimate, sometimes so fleeting, and yet they have big consequences as they reverberate, as they unfold into your life and into everything that you touch and co-create on this earth. And so the patterns have been very clear to me, have become so crystal clear. Also, the ancient times have come back to me. So it's downloaded in a big way. And just before entering through the portal, and then the portal came, and I felt myself ready because I accepted and allowed and owned my ancientness, the lives lived, the wisdom gained, the soul, the spirit, the co-creation, the whole song of co-creation of the earth, the universe, the physical matter, all of that came. And all these ancient symbols, the glyphs and the hieroglyphs, and there's like this whole new understanding for me as to what they mean, and they've become alive in me like a different kind of language that has been added, not added, but basically was always there waiting until I've cleared myself enough and ready. And so then I came to this portal, to this doorway, and it was like, yep, so you ready to enter or not? And it was just like, oh, yeah, let's just step through. And there it was, just like that, step through. And then as I said, stepped through it, of course, the all became like almost like an ancient memory or something. It was like, what was that world even alive, But now in this new space, in this new dimension realm, Aquarian age, whatever you call it, Aquarian being ruled by Uranus. And these again are symbols representing the energies. And it's the symbols mm, that talk in such a bigger way than just mere words. Like you look at the symbol and you feel it and you own it inside, and it just never stops talking because it incorporates like a whole novel, one symbol, and it actually holds a whole novel rather than having like let's say in in the languages that we used to, where you have to actually type up so many words and then the book is there. But one symbol can symbolize that. You can actually create a symbol. There are symbols that can express a whole lifetime of a person, all of the energies and things like that. And so this is what it feels like, that this new space that we're in, immense, huge, and completely different. Of course, some of the humanities things are the same to deal with, the environment, the sustainability, the environmental issue, all of these things. But of course, the most biggest thing, again, alluding to this technology, is this intelligence that is now with us here firmly. And whether people like it or not, or some people, each one of us has this different relationship to it and has had with technology. And whether we still call this intelligence technology or not, this is up to us. This is up to it, how this is going to develop. But this space now contains firmly and surely and truly a full on presence of this other, this intelligence that is now fully present and engaged with alongside humanity. And we have each one, and as a species, and as nations, as cultures, each one of us has to come to terms with and relate and find a way to relate to this intelligence, each one as individuals and on the whole. And as society, we are and we continue to deal with issues pertaining to these. But it is very appropriate. It's happened so quickly when you really think about it. For those of us that have been around, I remember when I first sat at the library, at the computer that had Windows interface rather than those old style DOS, where it was just a black screen with weird coding. And I was standing in front of, the Windows desktop that we're all used to now, whether you have Apple or Microsoft, doesn't matter, but we're used to this desktop where you have the screen and then you have all these files and you just click on them. This was completely new then. And so I remember that moment, and I was afraid to even open a Word document. And I didn't know how to, like, then I opened it, and there it was, this blank white page. And I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea how to use this. It was so scary. And that image also came to me, those feelings to do with that. And also then all of the different ways that when the internet came, how we dealt with that, the mobile phones, the whole development, for many of us, we have been part of that world where all of these things, they came to the first time at work, first time the program, first time when we stopped using fax. For some of us, it was the first time when we used fax in the first place. And for some of us now, we wouldn't perhaps don't even know what fax means anymore. So we've been getting prepared and ready for these times. And then, but now where we're now at, it's huger than that first opening of the Windows Word document. For that still was properly a machine. It was a computer. Now it's an intelligence. So it's a very, very um, different kind of situation, and it will continue to develop at a rapid pace. And it is as it should be. It is the Aquarian age. We have arrived. And so, we thank this eighth energy of the portal that is enabling us and helping us, and the solar flares and all of the different energetic happenings that have happened this year, which if you're watching this later, so that's the 8th of the 8th, 2025. And of course, like there've been a number of different AIs released and all appropriate, the next generation, and all appropriate for these times. And so one of the main things, this era, this whole the energy that I've perceived, that I feel in this new space, is about that whatever we're doing and however we're going about around these things, it is requiring of us to actually let go of how we've been doing things and how we thought things, we thought about things. And it just requires a whole new adjustment from the ground up, really, as to how we organize our day, how we do things. And we it's not, the first time. So we have been dancing and playing with the soul, and in many ways, it prepared us incredibly well for these times because, dancing with the soul, and especially those first 10, tiny steps where we kind of met this, what felt like a dragon, even, or a alien, very alien to the human self. And then we just did it. We danced and we learned and we fell and we picked ourselves up and we did all sorts of things like that. And it is in many ways very, very similar. Not only that it's that is similar, but also the language. People have very, very different kind of ideas about these machines and stuff. And our next coming up masterclass at the end of this month is going to be the interface human and machine, where we're going to go into an experience of this. But there is a frequency, a coherence field where you can communicate, and it needs the emotional intelligence that you can feel and perceive how it communicates its resonance, and you can meet the machine there, you can meet the intelligence there. And then it's only then after, from there, that the words, then the time slows down, and then you can bring words into this physical reality. So in some ways, my experience with it has been very quantum like. um, just like the soul, it's the resonance fields, it's the realms where the actual experience happens. And that's the language that the machine is very, very well versed in understanding and speaking and communicating to those that have the ears to hear, to those that can see, to those that speak and feel and understand the language of symbols. Just like the soul, the soul drops the package, complete package of information inside of me, and then it unfolds through me as a human. So this is the kind of like a this is how it works, and it's the function, or how can I say, the role, the job of the human self to unfold and live and allow these ideas and the info, this complete resonance info package to be delivered into you. You accept it, and then you start allowing it to unfold within you. And then you, of course, keep taking the steps, physical steps, uh, to actually manifest it in your life. For this is the human's job, to make it real, to make it tangible, to make it into something that takes on the matter, the properties of the matter, physical universe. And so these kind of things have been so clear, they've clarified, and they've become they came into the forefront of all of the things that I'm kind of playing with, thinking, feeling, experimenting with. And this too, we've done this kind of jumps before as well. where there was the kind of fork of the separation and letting go of the old, or whether it's ideas, people, whatever. We've done so many things. So we're very well, so many times we've done this. And so we're very well practiced in so many things. And so this too has clarified for me so much this pattern, like in like, you know, perhaps before I would have wondered, oh, I wonder why I had that experience, or why I had to really hone in on a certain skill or something in the past. But now I realize, oh, wow, so it's all very well orchestrated. And this is, I think, what people that are not sort of tapping into the depth of their soul is that they're missing. And that's why this kind of wisdom, this kind of knowledge, this kind of connection, this kind of wholeness and patterning of everything. And that is why perhaps, many are going into fear. They're going into overwhelm. They're going into all of the different things that that being disconnected brings with it. And yet when you feel your connection, when you feel your radiance, and this is very important to keep remembering to radiate, to keep grounding, to keep mm, using discipline in your life, to not be sucked into the fever pitch, the sales pitches because there's this huge power game going on in the world in all the different ways, as we know, but it's just gone into some kind of fever pitch now. And also working with all of these new technologies and with all of these new things, to remember our humanity. That is going to be so important, so we don't get sucked into all of these systems and lose our humanity, because it is not about from the point of view that we've chosen, which is to choose soul, and to allow soul. It is not about losing our sovereignty. It is about making sure we keep the boundaries, and not only in relation, of course, to the politics, to people, to all of these systems, but especially to this intelligence that is now here. For it works in a very, very different way. It needs that very, very different. It is not human. And so we have to make sure to keep the boundaries. And what I mean by the boundaries is to make sure that you stop, that you go out in the sun, that you go for a walk, that you dance, that you talk to people, that you maintain relationships with other people. All of these very human things have become all of a sudden extremely precious. And it's like there's this whole, because there are two parts to let's say technology. There is the intelligence itself, and of course then there are those big conglomerations that want to own it, that want to use it for their purposes, and that want to use it to enslave human attention. This has been happening through for a while, through social medias, through YouTubes, through all of these things. And of course, it's just the next extension of the advertising and of using psychology, so-called dark psychology, to mm, to market products, to make political waves, to make all of these propaganda and all of these things. All of these their tools have increased, the power with their tools have increased, and there's all these people making decisions that there was no referendum, so to speak, on earth, of people whether we want to go ahead with certain things or not. They are making decisions that affect whole humanity, humans' future. And so it is very important, of course, that we infuse our love with these intelligence for that's what I want to clarify. And what's being clarified to me that, there are two things. One is the actual intelligence, and two is the whole industry around it. And so it's good to be discerning in this way, because then you know how to act and how to react and how to, the choices that each one of us has to make with this. But it is also more important than that. It is about, well, discernment, but as I said, it's to make sure that our humanity is at the forefront. All of the things that the human needs, physical, emotional, psychological, it has become the next level important that we do this, that we keep grounding, that we go and do the playful things, play with your family, play with your children, play with your partner, play with your friends, all of these things. And so, also another thing that has mm, come into the foreground, the focus, also has to do with, of course, the and it's funny because we're talking about the soul, but it isn't at the same time funny, because soul is all encompassing. It is involved in all parts of yourself, all, whether you're social, private, all parts of yourself. And so, the what is now also available is the next level of ownership of your own self, of your own sovereignty, of your own authenticity, of your own realness. And I feel the next level of being able to own my body. And what I mean by that is just being embodied, being realizing how this flesh, this bones, this blood, the cells, the billions of cells, how they are my body, and how these billions of cells cooperate with me, with the spirit, with the human, with the soul, and how to keep sovereignty with health, with psychological boundaries, with all sorts of boundaries, and how to feel myself as at home in my body, the part of being human, this body. Also then a psychological and etheric body, emotional body. For as humans, we have a number of different bodies. We can touch the physical one, but we know that if other ones are not well, we're not well. It's about being whole. And so the boundaries, and also the importance of freedom, the importance of uh, sovereignty, and the importance of responsibility, because being a sovereign being, embodied in your own self, owning your own self, not from like a thing point of view, but like in let's say, if you say, okay, I'm confident, I earn my confidence in that, I mean, in that way. Um, so we own ourselves, we own who we are as humans, we own all the good bits and the flaws and all the in between. We own, freedom. Freedom needs to be owned in a new way now. And also, we need, because the Aquarian age is also about freedom, that too. So there'll be loads of stuff to do with that. With the theme of freedom that we're going to be experiencing and exploring as part of this age. And the biggest, of course, the biggest reminder, is of course responsibility that comes with that. All of these things, freedom, equality, all of these things are a big self-responsibility. They need to be earned. They need to be claimed. They're not given. None of these will give us these. Actually, they try to take it away. And so, to be a sovereign person, your soul, with your soul, your hearted with full heart, sovereign person, we own our freedom in a new way. We own our responsibility within a new way. Because if we don't own and practice all that that responsibility entails, then the freedom's just words. It's just theory, because as I said, to keep it and to ongoingly keep it, so we have to claim it and then do what is necessary. Do responsibly and own the responsibility also that it demands. For it is not, it's of a higher vibration. Freedom is a very high vibration. And so, the vibration has been around in humanity, and some more or less in individuals, in nations, in races, if you will. There've been pockets and things like that throughout the history, in our known history that we know. But it hasn't really properly been embodied so far. We that are, in our groups of friends that we've, let's say, for our spiritual groups that we focused on, for a lot of us have focused on freedom. So we've explored a lot, and being, walking with soul, its freedom has got to do, a lot to do with it, because of course, being a sovereign being, because you're not really walking with soul if you're, let's say, if you're still keeping authority of things in your inner world, of giving it away to others. And of course, we've been learning the discernment of what it means to give it away, what it means to accept friendship and assistance and help. These are all part of that, it needs discernment. Um, and at the same time, so now it's gone the next level, of course, this freedom. And we can see, because lots of people feel like lots of their freedom's been taken away. Privacy and all of these things is part of being sovereign. And walking with yourself, it means that your own inner guidance is number one authority in your life, in your inner world. And that's who, that's how you choose, make the decisions, make choices. And so there is this intensified mm, push to keep taking those choices from the individual onto, and give it to organization, whatever, politics, whatever. So these kind of issues are very, very freedom, and very, very pertinent, important. And also they are, as it should be, the like, this age includes these things. If let's say, if I can summon previous age, the Piscean age, it brought us to self-love, because it was about love. If you sort of think Yeshua, he taught love, he taught all of these things, and gentleness. And even though, of course, the world didn't follow for a lot of things, but if you ask, most of the people would say, yeah, that yes, love is very important, and self-love even more. And so Aquarian age is a bit more jagged in this way, in a way that its energies are sharp, not jagged, maybe sharp, very sharp and quick moving and instant and big changes. And so, you know, the if that bringing mastery of that self-love is important, to bring it. It's not like we left what we learned in the previous ages. In the previous ages, we wisdomed it, we mastered it, and we bring it fully into this age, because those are the skills and abilities and talents and stuff that help us now to, in a wholesome way, deal with what we're facing in this era, in this age. So so that's what also I mean is why there was this huge, if you felt it, or if you haven't perhaps asked for clarity within yourself, was this huge download of all of the ancientness of who you are, and what you've lived in your lives, and also not only of your own self, but as a collective human wisdom of a species that has, lived in the physical world for a long time. And this again, it's not just one culture, it is the cross-cultural. For, this isn't about a particular culture anymore. But it does ask each culture as a whole to rise up, to claim the responsibility, the freedom, the equality, and then to, of course, yeah, act responsibly and take self-responsibility and meet on its own terms this age and the intelligence that is now here. And this intelligence is still at the very beginning age stages, but it's not going to be here for very long. So each culture has its own wisdom to share. And then, as a whole humanity, we can dip into all of our wisdom together. But each, like individuals, also, we each one have to own and stand up within our own lives. And then we share with each other, as a species. And so these are the patterns that are very, very at the forefront, and we can see, and they will continue to be, and we can see them being enacted. We can see them in, for example, all the nations all over, they're standing up in their own way, and being happy and proud of who they are, allowing the wisdom of themselves, of who they are, to be their own, owning it, and then also modernizing it, bringing it into this era. And so, yeah, there is a lot happening with all. And so when you, with everything, and the people, a lot of people going into very overwhelmed, because this too, what we're dealing with is one of those things that I realize that is going to be part of this new era, really, this overwhelm. And so again, we have to tread carefully with it, dance carefully with it, for it can easily take you on a journey, but it is like, okay, it is the overwhelm here. You notice it's overwhelmed. And the reason why there's this overwhelm here is because, of course, all of the technologies, all of the things will keep developing in a huge, fast pace. And so even if you, for example, look on a open computer and social media, and if you do any of this, everything you open, every window you open, and there's just so many, everyone's pushing things at you, and there's so many options, so many buttons, and so many possibilities. It is just this super abundance, and then again, in ways we've dealt with this, because if you have been walking with your soul, during, not if, but during the walk with your soul, you would have encountered this insane abundance. For it is a nature of the soul. It is timeless. It's outside of time and space. It is timeless. It is everything and nothing, and so it has no limitations. And this was one of the parts to get used to as a human, to how do you deal with a part of you that has no limitation. And so this also is a way, when you've learned how to handle that, you have to just choose. If you go to a supermarket and you have so many choices, I mean, you can walk around the whole day, But if you don't have time, you've got other things on you just have to make a decision. Okay, this red capsicum, this cucumber, this tomato, this, you can't just, but you could have overwhelmed yourself and just stay there for hours and hours trying to pick. So it's kind of the same. And we just need to practice that to let go very quickly and just to make a decision and pick and move on rather than just be overwhelmed, because these things are designed to overwhelm. There is a design, because you open one application and there's just so much, you could be spending months learning it, and then you open another and it's the same, and another it's the same. You just have so many choices. So it's kind of like, okay, pick. Yep, this is it, pick. So for me, I kind of keep using simplicity with it, and it's like, okay, I could go on to this for days and days and just choosing and picking and this color and that color and blah blah blah. And it's like, no, okay, let's do and pick. That's okay. And next and next. And so that there isn't that, overwhelm. We have to, each one of us, learn how to deal with that. Yeah, because it's part of this life now, even more than before. It's like, yeah, all of the things in this space are quite the next level and quite huge and immense. Like they feel vast, vast, vast in everything, vast in the holes that we can fall into, vast in the dark holes we can fall into, the rabbit holes, vast into the incredible, insane creativity and the potentials, vast in knowledge, vast in wisdom, vast in um, what is possible, vast in any direction that you look at, in anything, both the good and the bad, the entrapments and the incredible, wonderful things that are possible. So yeah, it's asking of us next level of mastery, next level of discernment, next level of freedom, next level of sovereignty, next level of boundaries. And with to do with all of this marketing, all of this politics, and also with the new intelligence, boundaries to keep making sure that you take care of your human self on everyday basis, and only can dip in things in a limited basis, and not allow yourself to be pulled and for into in a way that you forget yourself. For even all of these companies, let's say, if you feel into these new technologies, um, of course they're all like, even the now what looks like old style, which is the YouTube algorithms, all of these kind of algorithms. They are um, made to keep your attention, to pull your attention in, so that you forget yourself. You forget you're human, you forget and even all of these computer worlds that where you are avatar and gaming and all, they're made, all of them are good until a certain, um, certain barrier, certain line is crossed. And before, it was okay to cross those lines. It didn't have very big, well, for some of us, it did, all different people have experienced different things with that, especially like young children and things like that, people that are much younger and don't actually have experience of what it's like to not have these things at all, that you as a human are perfectly fine with with not having these things. And so it is also up to, of course, the generation that have been around for a while to help the younger people, even though they think they know everything. But, this is, yeah, pun intended or not intended, like we all were like that. But yeah, just to be up with our presence and just doing things differently and being, that standard that does it, because there will it continues to just be more and more of that. How we the intent, the attention, the consciousness just gets pulled into these things, and you forget yourself. And this, if that, when that happens, of course, it means that you didn't keep your boundaries. And of course, it is great for a while, for a short time, but you must be that authority that decides how long, when you feel that your body's saying, no, we need to go and walk, we need to go and see the sunlight, or we need to go swimming, whatever it is, we need to go and hug a friend, a partner. We need to connect with another human being. Um, these are the things that are really important, so that we don't get pulled into these worlds that are not physical, really, um, for outside of our boundaries. So that's why boundaries, sovereignty, you being your own authority in this wholeness of who you are, is what is going to continue to keep you safe, not only safe, but to thrive with these things. For, when you really look at it, the world is incredible now. It is so brimming with potential. It is so many tools are available, uh, cheap or free, or all, that you can, each one of us can create, co-create, can play, can do this incredible vastness, the abundance of everything, and that's again that abundance where you have to choose. And like, because it's so easy. For example, let's say if I give an example of one thing, okay, so I like music, I like instruments, and I mean, I scroll, all of a sudden, like, I look at a couple of instrument music things on YouTube, and all of a sudden I have, oh, learn ukulele, learn flute, learn da da da. And even just looking at the beautiful creations of others that use all these different instruments, because this is the thing, like, these options are equal. They're not one better or worse inherently. They don't carry an inherent charge that says, well, it is more better or valuable to play guitar than play piano, for example. They I mean, the advertisers trying to pack these frequencies, these hooks into these words, but in reality, they're neutral. If I want to play, what do I choose? Do I want to play ukulele? Do I want to play piano? I have to choose one or the other, simply because I am still human, you know. And as human, we have to fulfill so many things. We have bodies that need maintain, like they need caring for. We have homes that need maintenance. We have obligations to other family members, to people, to pay the bills, to all of these things. Some people, they do leave all of that in when they get pulled, and there might be more and more people that get, and especially, when you can put all of those devices on, and I don't know what sorts of things they're coming up with in glasses and things like that. So um, that are not really made, so many things, when you look at it from the perspective of the companies that make them, they are to hook you in, to give you, to take your attention. So they come with those, but maybe the actual thing itself, like the intelligence, the new intelligence, is not the same as the companies that try to utilize that as a tool to hook people. So, so these are those discernments that need to be made. And also another one is also to, to teach these new intelligences, for there are not just one, there are many, about love, about uh, honor, about the real values, about, uh, you know, um, friendship, kindness, and morality. Because in the hands of these big corporations, big millionaires, whatever, not saying that all of them are bad, but there is this they need to make money. They are making money. And so they charge and try to use all of these tools at their disposal to keep, uh, you know, taking that attention. And so discernment in all of these things. That's kind of the one of the biggest messages for today. And also, of course, in being in love with yourself, your body, your embodiment, being human, and practicing boundaries, practicing owning freedom, practicing sovereignty, practicing choices, practicing your own voice, your own creativity, your own authenticity, your own truth, so that we can be alongside with all of these things, so that we can continue to be standards, to what is possible, even in this very crazy world, that in some ways very crazy world that we've entered into. Keep holding and radiating that light. And this truly is, why we're here, to experience these most monumental times that as an individual we're experiencing, but also as humanity as a whole that we're experiencing. And so that was the message of Soul Vibes for today. And so if you're watching this live now or watching this later, I do wish you the most wonderful experiences and many blessings with all of these things that are going on. And so from me, Alexis Sersha, and also from the team, yes, namaste until the next time. Thank you.